Welcome back to the Film and TV channel. I hope you're all staying safe and well. And we have a mini-series or a episodic series anyway. Eight episodes by about between 54 minutes and there's the odd hour one as well. So anyway, between 54 and 60 minutes. It's never very specific. This is a thriller drama made for streaming television, created by Charlotte Stout, based on the 2018 novel of the same name by Karin Slaughter. So if you're a fan of Karin Slaughter, this has been put. I don't think I've actually ever read any of her books, but based on this, I might give it a read. I might give one of her books a read and see what I think. This premiered on Netflix on March the 4th, 2022. So if you had that service, if you don't have Netflix, just check your streaming sites. You may be able to get availability of this. And it's called Pieces of Her. Please, if you are new to the channel, push that subscribe button. It'd be great. Push that notification button. I try and inform and try and entertain. I try to chip in with the odd thing as well to sort of lighten the load, if you like. Sometimes the films are a bit serious. We need to lighten them a little bit. Pieces of Her is a thriller drama. Yes, some very serious elements in it, of course. So please, if you do like what you see, please push that subscribe button if you're not already done so. And please, all comments are welcome, but even more importantly, please get those thumbs up. It's great. I'll try to get between 10 and 20 for these film and TV channel vlogs if I can. So if you can just give us that, that's good. You'll make an old man very, very happy. That'll be most grateful. Pieces of Her, did this make an old man happy? We'll see. We'll see. Let's leave that till the end. I'm not going to give anything away just yet. I'll make you wait. Well, this stars the wonderful. Well, they're all wonderful, but the more wonderful because she's been around for a little while. You know, obviously not that long, but a little while. Certainly not as long as me. Toni Collette stars in this one. Bella Heathcote, Amari Hardwick, David Wenham, Jessica Barden, Jacob Scipio, and Joe Dempsey. I was going to say Dempsey then. Joe Dempsey. And what's it about? Well, Pieces of Her follows the story of Andy, who was caught in a deadly mass shooting at a local diner. Andy being a female character, so don't get confused. Moments later, she witnesses her mother, Laura, violently eliminating the threat with ease. Well, I wouldn't say with ease. As Andy begins to unravel her mother's actions on that very day, her perspective on their entire familial, that's a good word, isn't it? Familial relationship takes a new turn. Soon after, figures from her mother's past reappear, and she is forced to escape. While on the journey, she attempts to piece together the remnants of truth that her mother buried long ago. Is it any good? Well, these scores are us at the 9th of March 2022 at 10 a.m. in the morning here in the UK. Rotten Tomatoes, not convinced by this. 23 critics, a positivity rate of just 48%, so just under half. It does average a score of 5.3 out of 10, so that's not a total disaster. But if you look at the rotten and the fresh, 11 fresh and 12 rotten. So that is a bit disappointing from Rotten Tomatoes. They're not really keen on it. A couple of 1 for and 1 against. Annabelle Nugent from The Independent here in the UK. She said, the series coasts on several genuinely shocking and well-executed twists, which do indeed puncture the haze of passive watching we're so used to. And maybe that adrenaline hit is enough. So, yeah, it is a positive, but still there's a little edge to that. There's a little down on that, isn't there, as well? Is enough, you know, just about is enough. So that's more a watchable rather than a rave review, isn't it? But that was just one of the freshies. And for a negative, for one of the rottens, Brian Tellerico, who we feature a while, he does stuff for RogerEbbett.com. Toni Collette never misses, she doesn't, but she's left stranded here by a script that doesn't go far enough to provoke B-movie thrills and is structured in a way that drains anything that feels realistic. So that was definitely a negative, wasn't it, in all fairness. The consensus of the site, this will be interesting, based on a 50-50 almost split. While Toni Collette heroically tries to bring Pieces of Her together, this lumbering mystery, is too bogged down by a backstory to satisfyingly cohere. Cohere. I learned some good words when I do these things. So, yeah, I can see a bit of that. Metacritic, the other site we look at, a little bit better. When I say a little bit better, it is only a little bit better. 17 guys have left a score or a review. 53% positivity, so slightly higher, so at least it's more than half. 4 positive, 12 mixed, and just one negative. So that's not bad, is it? I mean, I'll take the mix. I'll take the mix as a positive. I think we have to do that sometimes, don't we? And it does score anywhere between 37, a lowly 37 out of 100, and 80 out of 100. He got his 80 from the Radio Times. Well, we do the Radio Times when we do our Freeview UK TV stuff, don't we? Lauren Morris from the Radio Times. She said, pieces of her is well worth a watch if you like playing detective and with a stellar cast at its core. From Jessica Barden and Joe Dempsey to Amari Hardwick and Gil Birmingham, this 8-part thrill fest, pushing it a bit, Lauren, is a strong contender for the next title to top Netflix's streaming chart. There you go. So Lauren liked it. I don't think there's a doubt about that. Anita Singh of The Telegraph here in the UK, she didn't like it so much. She gave it half the score that Lauren did. She only gave it 40, 4 out of 100. And Anita Singh said, it's not terrible. I'd have to agree with that. You'd like to while away the hours watching a thriller that won't tax your brain. Well, we can always do with that after a hard day's work, can't we? There are a couple of decent twists. It just could have been so much better. So yeah, that's a negative, but I would take the positives out of that as well. So it's not a total disaster from Anita Singh. Internet Movie Database. Well, this is where it matters, isn't it? This is Joe Public. This is you and me, the guys who watched it on Netflix or whatever streaming site. Internet Movie Database, 6.5 out of 10. There you go. So we're happy with that. We're happy with anything over 6. Well, I am anyway. I don't know about you, but 6.5 out of 10. And that's if you take the scores independently, if you ignore the 10 out of 10s, which I always do because it's ridiculous to give anything 10 out of 10, and ignore the 1 out of 10s just for balance, because equally so, it's possibly more likely to give someone 1 out of 10, but let's take that out as well to balance it up. We've got 2,302 people scored it between 6 and 9. And 681 people scored it between 2 and 5. So very much in the majority with the 6 and 9s. And that's 77% in my book. If I take the calculation, that's 77% positivity. And the episodes themselves only score a minimum of 6.9 out of 10 and 7.5. So the episodes in themselves, I must admit, I'd probably rate the episodes between 5.5 and 7. In all fairness, if I was doing a rating of the episodes individually, and 7 being for the very first one, and nothing quite reached the level of that. So that brings me on to my thoughts, doesn't it? That really, and I am going to say it is a real mixed bag. I think you can see that from some of the scores and some of the reviews I've already read out for you. My good lady watched this, and she often gets bored after 3 or 4 episodes of any even the best ones, even the ones that I love. She often gets a little bit bored and struggles to get through an 8-episode series, which is what this is. I mean, she struggles to get through a 5 or 6 at sometimes, but yeah, she liked it. She liked it, which is unusual, and I think she liked it a little bit more than me, which again is unusual. And she got past episode 3 and 4 and got all the way to the end of 8. I think we'll take that. We'll take that as a positive. That's my good lady, but that's just letting you into a secret of obviously of that. And I'll be honest with you, if I'd watched this and then had to recommend it, I would have been a bit like that, whether she'd like it or not, because I do sort of know what she likes. So that's interesting. So yes, let's take that as a positive. That's good. Toni Collette is excellent, of course she is, and the rest of the cast are okay in this, quite adequate. I wasn't overly sure, and it was probably because of the character, actually. The other main actor, of course, is Bella Heathcote, the young girl, yes, and she didn't quite work for me, but I don't think it was the fact of her acting or anything like that. I think I just found her as an annoying person. I got to have chemistry. I've got to invest in people in these sort of things, and certainly Toni Collette's character sort of did. Again, it wasn't convincing, but I did enjoy what Toni Collette did. But Bella Heathcote as a daughter in this, I couldn't invest in her, but that doesn't take away from the acting and what was on screen. Certainly not the actor's fault. She's just playing a role. It's not her fault. And as I sort of intimated before episode 1 with my score, episode 1 is a great start. A very, very impressive start to a series. And in all honesty, it probably could only go one way from there, a little bit downhill, because the rest of the series, for me, didn't quite match up to that first episode and what we get. We get pummeled a little bit in the first episode. It never sort of gets to those heights. There's a lot of some graphic scenes, nothing much in this, but it doesn't quite reach those heights. We have flashbacks, which can be a nuisance, and yeah, got a bit wary. It took me a while to get into it, to be honest, to recognise the characters and who they were, and obviously as the younger versions, etc. Obviously, it was quite simple, but my brain probably just turns off sometimes, and I might have got distracted and looked at something else. And sometimes you sort of don't get warned into flashbacks; they just appear, and you're trying to figure out, oh, what's happening here, and you're obviously going from one part of the story back in time to another part of the story. So some are telegraphed and some aren't. So for me, it took me a little while to get used to. But by episode 8, I was fine. I sort of knew all the characters in the flashbacks and the current time. So there you go. 8 episodes, yes, probably too long. When I began to glaze over just a little bit. Struggle to. I did binge watch this over a couple of days, so I did watch it like an evening and then a day afternoon. So I did binge watch it. Whether it would have been better watching it in gaps, probably not, because I needed to know all the characters. I think you binge watch, at least you can keep a trail of who's who and what's what. And yeah, by episode 4, I was finding it a little bit of a struggle, but then it sort of got going again. It sort of clicks you back in, it sort of attracts you back into it. And certainly up to episode 7, I sort of was getting really interested. And then we get a bit of a rubbishy end, episode 8, which is a 60-minute episode. Yeah, we get to the climactic episode, if you like, and it was all, for me personally, it was all a bit of a damp squib. Which it was okay. Don't get me wrong; it finished off the story. We knew what had happened. There was no open-ended things. There are rumours of a second series, but there's nothing in it to say no. They've done, they've opened this for a second series. It did dot all the I's and cross all the T's, but it just wasn't the greatest last episode for me, as I say. Compared to that, as I said, if I scored it between 5.5 and 7, it would have been 5.5 for this episode, 7 for the first, and obviously all in between episodes 2 to 7. So yeah, a bit of a damp squib, the ending, which was a shame. But as I said, and someone else said there, it's not terrible, as some would have you believe. There's some real sarky comments, and some people have really gone at this thriller series, which again is on Netflix. So I subscribe to Netflix, so I always take it as a bonus if there's something on Netflix I enjoy, because I subscribe to it anyway. I'm not paying any extra, so I always treat that as a bonus, in the same way I do with Amazon and stuff like that. So yeah, for me, it's not terrible. It's not great either. It's definitely not great. It is watchable. It was watchable for me, and as I say, it's and my good lady liked it, so that's not a bad thing. That'll do for me. Keep her quiet for 8 hours anyway. So keep her out of my office and keep her out of my hair for a bit. That was fine. So all well and good. So I will go for a score. I'm going to go for my basic. I'm not going to go as high as Internet Movie Database. I thought it was a watchable 6 out of 10. And as one of the critics said before, it could have been better. But it was okay. But there will be a lot of you out there who really aren't convinced by this, and I fully understand. Let me know if you're for or against or in between anyway, because my 6 out of 10 is a bit of an in between, isn't it? But yeah, at least I've given it a watchable rating. But let me know what you think, guys. Anyway, as I said, do you agree with my good lady that it was very, very good, or me that it was okay, or some of the critics that it was absolutely bobbins? Let me know what you think. Anyway, thanks for watching. Whatever you're going to do the rest of the day, have a great one. Look after yourselves, look after your friends, look after your families. More importantly, let's all look after each other. We'll meet here again on the Film and TV channel. I want to ask one thing, don't I? Please stay safe, everyone. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.